Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow.
My idea of putting alyssum everywhere didn't work out in lots of places, but it certainly did here. Look at these little tiny white blooms that just make a big, beautiful mass of beautiful bloom. You can tell these little coleus are getting a little bit nipped by the colder nights that we're having. So I have got to get out here. Hopefully even today I will try to do that. And look at this is that little Astrolameria, and it's beginning to put buds on. Then we'll get some more bloom from this one if the frost doesn't get it first. And it's looking like in our forecast that the rest of this week at least is going to be nice. So as I look around, and God did give me some extra days to look around after my party, I'm so grateful. But as I look around, I don't want to let it go. I don't want to get busy bringing everything in. I want to stay out here and just enjoy it. But if I do that, we all know there won't be anything here to enjoy next year if I don't get it all taken care of. So I'm going to try. I'm really going to try. I'm going to do it, Lord willing. But I'm going to revel in it just a little bit longer before I let it all go. Again, just like in life, I can't help but wonder, why can't the beautiful days last longer and the hard days be shorter? Or maybe not even at all would be great. Maybe not though. Maybe then we wouldn't appreciate the wonderful cool days when we can come out and enjoy the garden. And you know, the leaves are falling as I'm out here. They're just falling around me when a breeze goes by. So it's going to be ending. We know it's all going to end. I did purchase me a couple of more stands. They're not exactly like this one, but I have 2 more stands to put on this back side, and I hope to get that done soon too, maybe even today. But I think I've got too much planned for today that I'll never get it all done in a day. But if I get busy, I might get quite a bit of it done. But if I stay out here looking at the garden, I won't get much of anything done or nothing done. But oh, please let me get something done, Lord, because I've got to get busy. I've got to cook for Rosie's Thanksgiving, and I want to do that, to make Christmas candies, and I want to put my tree up because I love to have the tree up when I'm making candies. It just makes it all so much more festive. And I do not mind putting the Christmas tree in Halloween and Thanksgiving as well as Christmas. It just seems right to me. 27th of October, and fall is doing that thing, ushering in winter. Fall just never lasts long enough. I don't think it knows how beautiful it is. It's just here to do a job and get it done and usher that winter right on in. But it is cool today. But we did get some rain, and I think today would be the perfect day to dig up some dahlias. Oh, how I will miss these beautiful little mini begonias. Aren't they just as sweet as they can be? Of course, I'll miss it all. But it's still hanging on. It's not that cold. The wind is just up, and it's breezy, and it is a cool wind blowing. Look at this little pot. Remember when I put these in from the back pot where I have them, and I didn't know they just promptly wilted down, so I was not sure about this little one. But oh, look, you know that's got a wonderful root. It's doing great, withstanding the winds, the cold, and everything, but they can't withstand the cold. When it gets very cold for very long, they'll curl up and be gone. I did, however, clip a little. I did my coleus clippings yesterday. I thought I would get more done, but basically I'm just still tired from everything else. But I did get some of it done, and there's some pretty little coleus bouquets in my windows right now that I'm hoping will last through the winter and come back out in the spring. This pretty little Astrolameria may not get a chance to open all the way in this cold. And then again, we're in Oklahoma. It could be 80 degrees before it goes back to being, before we have a frost. Although that, as great as that would be not the norm anymore. Used to, we did not get this cold this fast. But now our Oklahoma weather, of course, it's always been up and down and back and forth and anything you can imagine. But the last few years, several years, at least 4, we've had early frost. Last year it came in October, and I'm pretty sure the 2 years before it came in October. I have to take my little plumeria in too. Oh, it's done wonderfully well. Once it got going, it just took off and put these wonderful, beautiful leaves on, and they'll all be falling off and turning brown. It'll go back to that little stem, that little trunk that was on it that it stayed at for all that time in the summer. But then my friend that gave this to me, Dee Dee, she said that it will lose it all, but it won't take it as long in the spring. It's going to pick back up quickly, and it'll go and put all these leaves back on a lot quicker than it did this year, and maybe even have some bloom. There's still also some pots that I need to take in because the bulbs and things that are in them are not winter hardy, so I'll definitely want to get them inside. And then I guess we'll just have to be ready for that winter's cold, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be wonderful to have some rest, winter's rest, a nice winter's nap. Sounds really good to me. But you know, I'll hate to lose all this. I'll hate it so much. It'll make me sad, maybe even depressed for a while. But it'll be back, not the same ones. Things are constantly changing. You know, the only thing that doesn't change, well, once I heard that it's change itself, because it's always going to change. But the only thing that really is going to stay the same is Jesus Christ. The same yesterday, today, and forever. You know, some of these are in the window, in a glass in the window. And I gathered in some seed, and when these all turn brown, I'll gather in some more. But I wanted to do some of them while they still have their color, and then I'll put them in envelopes so that when they turn brown, I will have that envelope marked as to what color they will be when they bloom. And since I've had very little time to sit and look at the garden and do some dreaming, I had not realized that all my beautiful mums, even though I have a lot of pretty colors, they're kind of all in the different shades of yellow and creamsicle, and they're very pretty. But you know what? These would show up a whole lot better if it had some purple in there too. So I've got to figure out a spot to put purple that will blend in with this and just bring all the colors out more. Look at this beautiful little mum. Of course, it was kind of down on the ground from the winds, but as beautiful as it is, it's still in that yellow and pale category. Oh my, so the winds did. I was thinking they could have, and sure enough, they knocked this over. So I'll be out fixing this back up on its little stand before very long today. There, I actually put this little pot back up there now, and I'll have to wait till later to put the little decor that I had in there back on, because I'll have to glue that in. Everything is glued down in my garden because the Oklahoma winds they can be relentless. Oh, and also I found another little yellow profusion zinnia that I'll want to save seed from. All these beautiful dahlias hopefully they'll be chopped off and make a bouquet out of the last ones that are still looking good, and then they'll be put away for the winter. That's the plan. I was thinking that I had quite a bit of purple, but you know, as I'm looking at it, I would call this in the red category, both of these. The one is kind of like a burnt brick red, and the other more of a fuchsia pink, but it's actually deep enough that I would put it in the red group. So I'm thinking maybe I do need another mum in the purple, in the color purple, that family. And I know I'm taking a few extra pictures, but that's because they'll soon all be gone, and I want to enjoy it as long and as much as I can before that happens. And you can see that I did go ahead and chop off my little castor bean and all the seeds, and I'll just throw most of them away, but I will save some of those seeds. And hopefully we'll have another pretty castor bean in next year's garden. The beautiful zinnias. So wonderful that God gave them halos. And that's the flower that my dad picked out to buy a package of seed for his girls. I so dread to see it go, and it'll all be gone. These beautiful Alternanthera, they're such a beautiful plant. You know, they're that deep wine red color, and they just set off all the greens. But not only that, but these little plants, they look like a garnet, but when the sun shines on them, it's like they've been refined right into a ruby. Such beautiful plants, but they are annuals and they won't come back. Sometimes I've had them to stay in a glass in the window and put back in, and they've lived, but it's kind of rare for them to go ahead and do that. But hopefully I'll be able to find some more of them. I certainly love them. This little Alternanthera is called a Joseph's coat. It has little tiny, the burgundy leaves on it, and as you can see, I have lots of seed here. I don't know, I'll try to save that and try to plant those and see what will happen. I don't know how well they come up from seed. Hold it steady so you can see that beautiful color. The cool has just really highlighted the colors, and they're just really popping. Look at this one. And there's more of that beautiful coleus that I transplanted from right over there. This one here, remember how big it got? And I went ahead and trimmed it back, and I like it better trimmed back over here, but I'm glad I let it grow because it was beautiful. Just a big mound of it over there, a big tall mound. But not only is it pretty over there now, it's a little shorter, but it's also pretty in many other places where I put it, where it needed something, where things had succumbed to the elements. This gardener just about succumbed. Look, the cooler weather made this little clematis, it had crawled up there and everything was all dark brown and dead, that it put on new little leaves, and it wants to go now. That's how I feel too. I would like for the weather to be beautiful and we could really enjoy our weather, but that's not probably happening in Oklahoma. It's just not. We just have to enjoy it right along with all the heat and cold and whatever we get, drought, whatever we get. But in everything in life, God is good. God is good. Look, the grass is changing colors, putting on its autumn clothes. I'll need to put this little girl away for the winter too and bring her back out next spring. And I still haven't brought in this little begonia. I'm debating whether or not to bring it in, but I probably will. Whatever it is with me and begonias, I just can't let them go. They're so pretty. So, digging the dahlias does give me one good excuse for putting a bouquet of dahlias on the table. This is the last bouquet for this year out of the garden. Today is October the 29th, and we have not yet had a frost, but it looks like we have because we had winds 50 miles an hour plus. So I don't really know how high they got, but I know they tore up the plants, they threw stuff around, and I've got to pick up practically everything in the, well, that might be a little bit of a exaggeration, but not all that much. A lot of stuff did get blown down and broken and will have to be fixed. But I think it's a lot easier to let the garden go when it looks like this than when it looked like it did just a few days ago. So here's one little item that got blown down. That's only one. But what I wanted to show you is that I did get my pots ready to go inside. These will go inside today. And Oh look, I did find a couple that were trying to come up for me. These are, I hope they will make it just going dormant and coming back next year, but I don't know if that's the case, but we will see. So I did get my little dahlias and all the bulbs that I needed. I got those dug up and squared away, ready to go to be put away and started again next spring. At the beginning of this week, I was thinking that we would have a whole beautiful week to enjoy the garden in, and I was so ready to get to do that, but I realized I've got to get busy. I've got to get things done. And so while I was taking them in, I think I mentioned that I needed some purple here, so I put a pot of purple mums here, and I know they don't look like much now, but hopefully by next fall, when the mums begin to bloom, it will be there to shine with these and to break up the lighter colors and have the little pretty purple in between. And over where I had the dahlias looks pretty bare to me right now. Not as bare as I thought it would, but it does. And soon it'll be more bare, because even though we did have this week not to have a frost, but we did have 3 days of high winds, not as high as they were yesterday, but high enough to do some tossing things around. So anyway, we are supposed to have a frost next week, so it's going and soon be gone. The little pot that I had here got knocked over, and my little angel that was in it got tossed aside, but I did not pick it up. I picked a few things up and the wind just kept blowing them down, and I've come to realize it's better to just leave them lay until all that is over, because it's less chances of them getting totally destroyed. It's much easier to pick a pot up later than it is to try to glue everything back together that got broken in the garden. So I really still didn't have my time to just dream in the garden and enjoy some time just relaxing in it, because I realized that I've got to get busy, and that it has been a very busy week in the garden. And today I'm going to clean out some little nooks and bring those dahlias and those non-hardy plants inside for the winter. So she's back up on her post again, the first day in 4 days that we haven't had excessive winds. And I have this little one back on its post again too. And even as I put them up there, I know they stand a chance to not be there when spring comes. But they'll be there for a little while and maybe be there when spring comes. I would love to bring some of these beautiful spikes inside, but I just don't have a place for them. I'm still contemplating, though. I'm maybe trying to take some in and stick them in somewhere, just stuff them in a spot and see if they will live. Our frost is supposed to come this week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, and it's getting cold at night anyway, but I have been a little bit frantic trying to get things covered. And what I noticed, though, let me show you, because there's still beauty out here, but you can tell it's all beginning to, I don't know if you would call this wilt or frazzle, or part of this is from the wind. Most of this is from the wind, and some from the little bit cold nights. But what I wanted to show you, what I had to go get the camera for, is that this did bloom. It did get its chance to bloom one last time, and it's doing great. Look what a big little bushy plant this has made. Oh, I hope it lives in this little pot and comes back next spring. But what a way to go out. While I was out here, I was singing this song that has the words in it, I won't have to worry anymore. And I was thinking that my nephew and my daughter say that I worry all the time. So I just thought they're the two that really accuse me of that. I don't know if I have any other nieces or nephews that accuse me of that. So if that tells them anything. But we worry about the people we love and feel responsible for. And not that I feel responsible for my nephew, because he has a wonderful mother to worry about him, and she does a great deal of that too. She's a whole lot like her big sister. But they do see it, and I do feel it for them, because God did give us that. I don't know what you call it actually, but we feel that we are responsible. He made us responsible for those children in a certain way, and we feel it, and we love them so much. But yes, when we get there, we won't have to worry anymore. And I heard someone say one time that our prayers stay with those people, they don't end. So that gives me comfort too, that even after I'm no longer worrying about them, they're still going to be loved and cared for. I don't suppose that I really have to worry about them for God to take care of them, but as long as He gives me that feeling inside to be concerned about them, I will be. Just because He gave me a great love through them, a great and wonderful love. It's scary and awesome to have to feel responsible for a child, but there's nothing greater than the love of a child, or the love of any person is the greatest thing we'll ever know, outside, of course, of the love of God. And we really do. We recognize the love of God through the love that we know, and that is a love through a parent or a child or someone that God put in our lives and made special to us and for us. And we love Him, and we love those people that He gave us especially for us. Of course, the moms are still looking like this, and it's just a shame to have things covered in plastic all around them, so that it kind of ruins their beauty when you just look around and see plastic around them. But it's going to be worth it, because even though we want to enjoy the moment as much as we can, there's always that tomorrow to prepare for. And so may God help us to be prepared for the days that He wants us to prepare for. And I'm trying to get things prepared for winter, to let this all go. And I will be, I'm ready for some rest. I've been saying that for a long time, but it's so hard to say goodbye, and I've been telling you that for a long time too, but it is. I'll cover this little girl. She has the ability to be on a fountain and have water coming out that little jar she's holding there in her hand. So someday I would like to get that set up, but if not, she's still just a pretty little girl sitting in the garden. Of course, these little annuals, they won't be saved by just covering them up. They'll be gone. This will be the last time we'll look at these particular ones, most likely, or in the very short future, they'll be gone. But I like to cover, and I don't cover nearly enough, the glass things for sure I like to cover, and the more fragile resin things I like to cover. I probably will not cover this one because it's just so hard to get over there, and hopefully she'll has some protection from the eave of the house, but that's mostly what I'm trying to get covered this evening, is just simply to cover the glass and the more fragile things in the garden and try to save those from so much exposure to the elements. Although I was showing you this when we first started doing the post, but I do cover some of these little succulents, not to where they can't get air. They'll need to get air, but this I've learned does absolutely save a bunch of this stuff for if the winter's not too bad on it. And actually the beginning of spring this year, when we had what my friend called the snowmageddon, and we had temperatures below zero and for 10 days in a row, so many things were killed, but the things that were covered, not that they didn't look horrible, because they did. I did not know if they would come out of it, but they did. So I think just a little bit of protection does the succulents a world of good to be ready to go again next spring. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.